Hello, hello, hello. What's up, boys and gals out there in the internet land? You are here at Packet Live, the community roundtable for PKT. What's up, guys? How we doing today?
Fucking great.
Fucking great. I love it. I love it. Love to see it. Love to hear it. What's news on the horizon?
Man, oh man.
Man, oh man, if only you knew.
Yeah,
Right?
I just can't wait until we can just fucking reveal it all.
I'm gonna start sharing this stream with everybody. If you can kick it off, Josh, I'm gonna go into the innerness of our community and start sharing the link real quick. Cool. And if for all the 11 people on here, if you guys can repost the stream, that would be fantastic. Extremely helpful.
Crypto today.
Yeah, no, some of the alts are cooking today.
Are they cooking?
Yeah, I mean, Biddy's kind of not cooking. It had a nice drop and is
like a slow burn,
hanging out. But when Biddy stabilizes, other things can start to cook. So we're seeing a little action.
Things just bouncing the line here. Looks like.
What's that?
It's just bouncing on. It's just like wicked down, and now it's sitting at this line it was at.
What are you referring to?
Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, Biddy. Yeah.
What line did I draw?
Yeah, a couple things are popping off today. We got a couple. I mean,
the coolest thing is that Packet is on Coinbase.
That's on the DEX. On the DEX.
But it can be. But you can trade it right off of the Coinbase app in the US only, though.
And in the in the Coinbase wallet, you can swap it.
Yeah.
I wonder why they chose to make it so the DEX wasn't available worldwide.
Because Coinbase, dude.
What?
Because Coinbase is a US.
You can buy it.
I'm sure there's compliance they had to do, and the best market to start in is the US because it's the biggest market. So they did the compliance for the US and they just didn't worry about other countries, and now I'm sure they're worrying about other countries and figuring that out too.
All right. Well, regardless, for all you Americans and Americans, you can buy it.
I wonder, can you do a VPN if you get to use Coinbase
into the US?
Well, I think you have to KYC as an American, and you wouldn't want to lie to them about where you're from.
You can do it on the wallet.
No, well, that's not buying on Coinbase.com. That's just buying it in the wallet. You can buy in the wallet no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, you just buy it on Uniswap, wallet, whatever, same thing.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's been cool. I was actually just in Las Vegas, I haven't been to Vegas in a while. I remember crypto used to just pop off in Vegas, like 2018. I felt like I was going to Vegas like every single weekend for a crypto conference, and those were the good old days, man. I miss those days because it was like post where like everyone thought you were a fucking weirdo for doing crypto. It was like the first like bull run where it became like mainstream, became like kind of cool, and the vibes were just so high around crypto. Those were really some of the highlights of my crypto career. But anyways, I went to Las Vegas, met with some pretty cool cats, some people that are in the film business and trying to merge the crypto business into the film business, and also some people from the music business. But then I also just went to a investor dinner and met a bunch of people to bring into the ecosystem. So there's a bunch of stuff brewing, and yeah, so I'm excited about what the future holds. But yeah, we're still a little cryptic. We're in this like holding pattern. I think we'll be able to start revealing our cards very soon, though. Things are on track, and And yeah, we'll have to just keep on grinding on this thing.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. Like just what's transpiring in the background, but it's kind of one of those things that like we can't say what's happening just yet, but like it's in line with, Packet TV and pushing forward that initiative that we've been really building towards over the last year, really, since we moved over to base.
Yeah.
So
And base opens up a lot of cool opportunities. Really been exploring this whole kind of skipping ads idea. I think that is pretty rad. I'm excited to go and develop that technology that can, because you think about each ad is like $7 to $30. Let's just say it's $7. You divide that by 1,000, which is cost per milli, which is CPM, and it's 4/100th of a penny. So you're basically like spending one packet to skip one ad, which is kind of great. And you could just put it on auto skip, and it's just gonna keep skipping that depending on how much you watch.
and if you're mining, or excuse me, if you're staking, then it's basically free.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost anything because you're already earning your packet.
Yeah, so you can just get, because it's funny, we always wanted to figure out like how to make it free for people to get access, because everybody wants everything for free. It's like nobody wants to pay for anything anymore. It's why the business, people just started torrenting and just ripping movies and doing just just fraudulently getting films. And so the goal has been to like, how do you get to free? And fast makes it so you get to free, which is great, but you got to watch commercials. And so if you want to skip commercials, then you got to provide the infrastructure, and now you get it for free. So that kind of ties the knot and kind of brings it full circle, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I love it. Super rad. And it's just another way to use your packet when you're, instead of just holding it, you can use it for watching stuff and skipping stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm pushing out the stream to everybody.
I was gonna look up what happened in this last airdrop. Who decided to go exit their position, which is kind of fun to watch people just sell at the bottom.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Somebody sold quite a bit.
Yeah, we got a couple people that wanted to just step out, which is nice. Yeah, we got someone dropped 30 million packets, so bye.
Yeah.
Nice to know you.
Nice to know you.
Know you later.
Sayonara. Yes, you're muted.
It's pretty fun.
I was gonna say that's so crazy to think about that. How much that is. At one point, 30 million.
What was it? Here, let's look it up.
Yeah, let's calculate that. Let's just say at 2 cents.
Yeah, it's a number. What is it? It's like 600 grand.
Yeah, $600,000.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
you dropped it for like 2 Ethereum.
At 6.5 cents, that was almost 200 grand. No, almost 2
million.
Or 2 million. Wait, did I do that?
Yeah, you did it wrong.
Yeah.
But
2 cents was 600 grand, so 4 cents would be 1.2 mil.
Yeah. So bye.
Yeah, see you later. That person still has a bag though, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
More they're just being abusive, which we know what it's all about. But yeah, it's fine. It's truly is fine. We're everything's gonna be all right. I'll just be happy when we really see things starting to happen, starting to cook on the upswing. The best one will be, well, you know, a God candle that everyone sells into, and then it keeps going, leaves you all behind. I've seen a couple of those, but yeah, you know, if you go back to that era of Vegas days, you know, 2018, 2019, you know, you're talking about Bitcoin, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 Bitcoin, you know? So you just have to remember all the people that got like that dumped their bag at 10,000 Bitcoin, just, you know, thought they were hitting the top, and it just kept going, and they missed another, you know, 12x on that. You know, it's tough for some folks out there.
Yeah, I remember
this, you know,
I remember this guy, he sold his Bitcoin at the very top. Like he just like it like got to like a number, and he's like, you know what? It's good enough for me. And he just sold his whole bag. Like wasn't it
$200?
No. This was
that
at
guy?
this was at the top of the 2018 market. And literally like just said, you know what? I'm good. And he just sold all of it. It just is like, I'm gonna step out of this. You know, I've been holding for a long time, just gonna step out. Sold literally it was like the top, like within a couple dollars. Like it wasn't even
Yeah, he got it. He clipped it.
And then it just the whole market just fell out like the next day. And he just like bought it all back. It's just like you can't even prepare for something like that. It was like 100% luck, but he just got his whole bag back at just like a complete discount, and the market dropped by like 50%. I mean, it was significant,
or more than that, but yeah.
So, yeah, the guy's just a legend.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was
I haven't talked to him in a while.
It was interesting. I was looking a little bit into some of these publicly traded assets that are happening right now. Like there's a company that just listed called Alts, ALT5, and they're, I guess, providing liquidity and building technology for the USD1 stablecoin. And yeah, so it's just, there's some interesting movements happening around, you know, specifically, I guess you could say within this, like the Trump ecosystem and what they're doing with the WILF, World Liberty Financial Technology.
Matt Morgan was talking about that, and he's just such a legend. He's always just like in the right place, the right time.
Yeah.
Had such respect for that guy. He just always just right there. You know, he was right there with cannabis and, you know, crypto, and guy's a G.
Yeah, so there's something very interesting there. I haven't been able to really kind of understand what technology they're building on. Their website doesn't really explain. So maybe being a public company, they're going to provide some disclosures that could be read and try and figure out exactly what's there. But I'm interested to know what they're doing, and just trying to understand how they expect to make money. Now, if it's as simple as accumulating large amounts of stablecoin and just putting it into treasuries and making money that way, which is what I suspect that a lot of these stablecoin companies or funds or whatever are doing, because they have large amounts of cash, and then they just put it into some, you know, yield. And because there's so much cash, even making like a 4 or 5% yield is just a ton of money, and it's super safe. I get that. But if it's actually about building some sort of like technology infrastructure, like what we're seeing a little bit happen within the XRP ecosystem, where they're starting to get into RWAs, and, you know, I see every single day someone saying how XRP is going to go to $10,000. And I'm just like, why don't you get to $5 first? Like, I get it. You think you know, XRP is going to be like $1 trillion asset, but let's see it get to 500 billion first.
Dude, shit's going to $1 too, guys. Like, it's all good. we're fine.
Yeah, SHIB's gonna drop 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Okay. Yeah, that's
Fine. We're fine. Everyone's fine.
Packet's gonna drop those zeros before SHIB drops those zeros. That'd actually be a good over under.
Good meme.
Who drops?
What's
who's gonna drop the zeros first?
Yeah, or what's the site where you can like bet on stuff?
Oh yeah, what is it? Polymarket.
Polymarket. Who drops the zeros first? Packet or SHIB?
Probably get more liquidity into that trade than into the market. But yeah, it's been a quiet market on the packet front, so it is what it is.
Quiet before the storm, though. It's
Yeah.
like, you look at the numbers. It's hard not to go into the details, but you look at just the sheer quantity of users that are available with what we're doing. There's just nothing in crypto that even gets close. Like, maybe there's like trade volume, I guess you could say, but like a lot of that stuff's just like bots trading with themselves. It's not really
a big project in crypto has 5,000 holders.
Right.
That's a success in crypto, is getting 5,000 wallet holders. There's obviously some big projects like Brett and stuff that have hundreds of thousands of holders. And I actually looked up XRP, and I think it said there were 6.4 million holders of XRP. So XRP, you could say, is like certainly one of the biggest. That's a big number. That's certainly a big number. They really have succeeded in building, the XRP army. And there's a couple others that are probably in the million wallet holders. Certainly Solana.
Well, the thing about XRP, I was even thinking about it, that the lawsuit almost was like the best thing to ever happen to XRP, just because it put it in the news, in the mainstream so much. And so you could be the novice of novice, know anything about crypto, but you know about XRP. It's like, because you watch, Fox Business or MSNBC Business or any of the, mainstream media, they talk about, XRP because it was being, sued by the SEC and, all that. So it's like, they always say, bad news is good news. And I really believe with XRP, that was the case. And then there was all the hype about, oh, it's going to beat the case. And once it drops, XRP is going to, $100. Yeah. So everybody bought in to that. And then when it happened, it was just, created the hype.
So here's what it says. It says, as of 2024, 560 million crypto owners worldwide, 50 million Ethereum, 50 million of Ethereum holders, doesn't take into account the lost addresses and multiple wallet addresses. It says there's 110 million unique Ethereum addresses holding ETH as of 2025. And then it says there's over 335 million cumulative addresses that have interacted with the Ethereum network. On the Bitcoin side of things, it says there's just shy of 1 million. It looks like 963,000 wallets that have at least one Bitcoin in it. So that's pretty interesting.
How many of those wallets are lost?
Less than 64 million wallets in existence on a Bitcoin. So, and then it says
that unaccessible.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot. It says here that XRP 6.6 to 6.9 million XRP addresses on the blockchain, but that the number of unique XRP holders is estimated to be less than 1 million, and some suggest around 600,000 unique holders due to the many inactive dust wallets holding XRP on centralized exchanges, where one account can hold 1,000 of users XRP. So it seems, 600,000, that's their community, So you look at what we're about to do, and it's like, we're in the tens of millions of users, times 3 or 4. It's
And yeah,
incorporating crypto into that.
if you put a wallet on every single one of them, you're just like,
Yeah,
it's just nuts.
yeah, it's a whole different
It's
ballgame.
wild, bro. It's fucking wild,
Yeah,
man.
and no, but so there's really just nothing in the crypto space that's servicing tens of millions of people at this point.
How many? Well, Bitcoin. I mean, how many people have Bitcoin wallets?
It says there's less than 100. I mean, there's probably a lot of wallets. It's hard to. It didn't really say on Bitcoin. It says there's under 1 million wallets that have one Bitcoin in them.
One Bitcoin, but yeah,
So let's just see
most people don't have one Bitcoin.
How many Bitcoin wallets are there in existence?
One Bitcoin's a pretty high threshold, you know.
Yeah, true. Now it is for sure. There are likely more than 200. Well, between 200 million and maybe billions of wallets created during Bitcoin's existence.
Yeah.
That's like to try and figure out.
Dude, there's over 100.
There's 106 million number of Bitcoin owners.
That seems more reasonable.
400,000 daily Bitcoin users. 200 million Bitcoin wallets.
Yeah, that seems more reasonable.
Yeah, so 100 and something million.
I mean, but Bitcoin.
So you go. ETH's got 50. Bitcoin's got 100. XRP's got 7, with maybe 600,000 unique holders. So that kind of gives you the lay of the land. But yeah, to get immediately into the tens of millions, it certainly puts you up beyond XRP.
We just got a 46-cent buy. Somebody just really went hard.
Dump the bag.
Yeah. Packet millionaires coming fast, dude. Somebody's trying to retire early, baby. Let's go.
The other thing I wanted to chat about just a little bit, Caleb, was some of the infrastructure on the packet side. We haven't talked about VPN in a long time. And I figured it would be interesting to refresh everyone's memory on that utility that we were imagining on the infrastructure side. Obviously, you haven't had the chance to finish building that stuff, but it could be a cool refresh on kind of what we had envisioned with regards to VPN and CJDNS and allowing people to run exit nodes. How far did you ever get on that in particular? Did you even build some of the initial pieces of it, or is it just still more in an ideation stage?
Well, it's been mocked up. It's like it exists, but it all just needs to be rewritten and then more and tightened up. The challenge is that so the idea here is that you should be able to somebody should be able to run a VPN exit and yield on that, as people run CJDNS nodes that are entrance nodes to the network, and they yield on that. And that, by the way, does make it so that you can now just start up CJDNS and connects to the network automatically. That's because of people yielding. So the other direction with that is that you could buy a VPN exit, and then people who are willing to run their CJDNS node as a VPN exit would be able to yield, but also be able to earn from the people that want to buy access to that exit. So it's a bit challenging. I mean, it's a bit challenging because when you're acting as a VPN exit, you have to assign an IP address. So there's some communication that has to happen there with the client, and of course you have to pay for it. So there's a smart contract involved there, and then you have to notify the node that you've paid for it, probably through route server, and I think one of the trickier things is just issuing the IP address and setting up NAT for IPv4 because mostly people don't have IPv4 addresses. But if they do, then being able to use that IP4 address to stake in and give them their own IP4 address, and maybe give them an IP6 address. But IP6 is something that we haven't really made much progress on. But this is something that's very useful because, for example, I host some servers on my computer across the room there, and that's because I have a fiber internet connection, and so why not? Stable electricity. It's better to just leave it here than it is to go co-locate it at a data center and pay rent on a piece of rack space. So that's very useful, but I only have my ISP's internet connection, so I use CGDNS to back tunnel to my servers that are running locally from VPN exit servers. So this is already being used, and it's quite useful for that purpose. But to take this the next step, this would be just to automate everything and make it so that you can kind of control. I think probably in the dashboard you can control your nodes and buy them VPN exit service. And so you go in the dashboard, you say, okay, I've got a node here. That's my node. I want to buy it some VPN. I want to buy the VPN, connect it there, connect it here. And then that propagates through the route server. And then that node just all of a sudden, boom, has an IP address. So that would be really cool, but it's also fairly complicated. And it would be really nice because, there's this kind of clamp down happening on the internet. Now, every internet clamp down, they always reverse it a few months or a year later. They always roll it back because it never works, and people just move to more decentralized stuff that's more out of their reach. And so then they reverse the clamp down, and stuff like CJDNS never, or let's say stuff like darknets never become really that useful because everybody moves over to the dark nets whenever they lock down the internet, but then they realize that everybody's moving over to the dark nets, and so they unlock the internet. And so, posting on Twitter and stuff becomes very, very libertarian, very free speech oriented. And so it is kind of just an ebb and flow where the dark nets never become particularly relevant, but I think they still serve a role, kind of to stare down the authoritarians and show them that this is never going to work.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think it's probably pretty useful, at least for making it easy to host public servers from a home fiber-based internet connection.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what are some of the use cases that you can imagine, more pedestrian use cases for that?
You can use it as a regular VPN, but just like a little VPN app, yada yada. There's a lot of those though. A lot of crypto-based VPN projects. I think that what's the most interesting about this is for people that want to run servers, and it is a reverse VPN. I think that's the differentiator there. Because if you want just a DVPN, there's a ton of them. Sure. It's just so many. But a good reverse VPN, the ability to do that, and the ability to have IP addresses and manipulate them and allocate them, all that control, that's something nobody else is doing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you could do it on OVH. You could go into their dashboard and put this IP address on this server, but that's not decentralized. You still have to. They can kick you off, and so doing something where it's fully decentralized or at least mostly decentralized. That's a big sell.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, I've also been thinking about how we can incorporate packet network into what we're doing in the streaming space, and as things start to emerge on the infrastructure side of things, how we can incorporate packet on that on that front. Obviously Packet's not a CDN per se, so it doesn't have that exact benefit. But I think there is an opportunity to coordinate with a lot of these other VPNs and see, or CDNs, I should say, in the crypto space, and see if we can find some, infrastructure support and actually tether together a lot of the infrastructure that's powered through crypto to help support, a network that's being used by millions of people. So I think there's some, exploration that would be worthy in that regard. But yeah, on the Packet front, like have you given any thought to, ways that there could be some synergies there?
Oh, with the TV stuff?
Yeah.
Well, my personal pet thing that I know I've told you about before, I think it would be huge, would be the ability to buy partial or total ownership of content, so that you could watch something and then you could buy some ownership of the rights to yield on like the ads, or if people are paying for it in the future, because
it's like an RWA is what you're talking about, something.
Yeah. Because a lot of crypto falls down because it doesn't connect to anything that will actually make I don't want to say value, but revenue. It doesn't make actual like rubber meets the road revenue. So it's kind of like everybody's playing cards, but there's no revenue to keep the game going. But if you had something where you could sit and watch TV content, and then you could say, I think this is good, or I think this is culturally significant. I want to buy a piece of this because I believe it's culturally significant. I buy books because I think they're culturally significant, even if I don't necessarily even want to read it. I just want it in my bookcase, right? That I think that is something that has legs in the future, as being able to buy and own a part of that content. And I think that kind of prosumer role will give people what they've been looking for, kind of ownership society that gets out of, why don't I just download it off BitTorrent? Because then when it's like, well, I can own it and I can reward the creator, and then I can be rewarded, then you have more, you're able to stand on the other side and see yourself with the creator. And then it's no longer like, it just comes from a big corporation, I'm just going to grab it off BitTorrent, because that's
Well, there's another crypto project called Story. They have the IP token, and they've been tokenizing intellectual property and allowing people to, I'm not sure how the monetization structure of it works, or if it uses smart contracts. I haven't really looked into it, but certainly RWAs is, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, we obviously began our conversation around bandwidth markets and the imagination of a, decentralized bandwidth trading market. I think you could have the same thing with intellectual property, where people are tokenizing IP. I know people have started to experiment it with real estate in art, and there's certainly a lot of use cases like that. It would make a lot of sense for sure for someone to do that in the entertainment space of monetizing IP. And when you make a movie or a TV show, there's always a division of the ownership that goes to the investors and to the creative talent that are involved. And you're splitting up 100% of the net revenues. And it would be great to tokenize that and make it so, and I know this is something I'm very intent to do with Packet TV and how we build this out, is enabling real-time payments and people to get their compensation using blockchain or using stablecoin. And if you could have it be programmatic, which you would in this case, then everybody who has ownership in that IP would get their share kind of automatically paid to them. And that would certainly simplify what we call the waterfall in the entertainment space and alleviate a lot of the malfeasance and Hollywood accounting that's been occurring and, you know, rampant within the industry. So using RWAs, tokenizing intellectual property, and programmatically connecting the waterfall to a distributor like PKT generates revenue and pays out the rights holder. And then as that payment goes out, it kind of divides out, you know, to all the people that have some sort of equity ownership or some sort of entitlement to revenue would be very powerful. It would be a game. It would be literally a game changer for the entertainment industry. And it's interesting because there would be a lot of initial resistance from the guilds, you know, the Writers Guild, the Directors Guild, the Screen Actors Guild, and I think that once they understood the transparency and the audibility, and, you know, they have a whole department that's rattling people's cages and threatening to sue people for not paying, right? And so I actually got just harassed. It's a funny story. For a movie that I released in 2016, I got contacted. I think it was, I want to say it was the Writers Guild contacted me and said that I hadn't made a payment to them since 2019. And I was like, what are you talking about? I sold that movie in 2016. So, you know, the distributor would be responsible. And they go, nope. If you look at this one sentence in the contract, it says that, you know, the distributor is not responsible. So if they don't pay, you're responsible. I was like, all right. So I contact the distributor. I was like, hey, did you guys pay? They said no. And so I go back to the guild and I'm like, all right, well, you know, how much do we owe you? And they're like, well, if you don't pay this, we're going to sue you. And I'm like, well, what's the number? How much is it? Seems like it's a big threat, you know? And they were like, well, send us all the accounting and royalty statements. So I haven't even received a royalty statement in 7 years. So I go back to the distributor. Hey, can you send me the royalty statements? They send them. I forward them to the guild. And they get back to me. And they're like, we're going to charge you all the fees that you owe, and we're going to charge you penalty interest. I'm like, all right. I mean, how much? I haven't received $1 off of this. So how much money can it possibly be? All said and done, it was $90. And it took them about 4 months of just threats and harassment. Once they had determined that it was $90 that they were owed, and by the way, it was like $50 plus penalty interest of like $40. Once they determined that it was that, and I hadn't made the payment yet, then they still continued to threaten me. I was like, what are you talking about? You're not going to sue me for $90. Like, just stop it. Yeah, we'll get you the cash. It's not.
I got to go to the bank and break 100. Like, just relax, dude.
Not only, literally. So not only that, then when I got the distributor to finally render the payment, it was broken up into 2 payments. They wanted it to be broken up. So we paid the first part. I think it was one part that was $80 and the other part that was 10. And the $10 check didn't get cut. And the guy came back and started making threats again about suing over $10. I'm like, bro, you literally must not have a lot going on over there. Because if you have this much time, but this is a problem. I mean, if this guy's got this much time to harass me for 4 months over $90, and then, I mean, certainly there's people that owe way more than that. And it just shows that there's, you know, considerable disconnect between people getting paid and people getting, you know, revenue.
Well, that's also because the distributors are criminals. Like, the fact that, first of all,
lazy.
The fact that they didn't send the money, you know, and you had to go shake them down for $90 is the first problem. But the second problem is that, you know, the distributors are being shady too. I mean, tell them the story about the 30 grand that just like,
I actually found, I Well, it was actually even goes back. It's kind of a similar story when I was going through the numbers and figuring out, wait, I haven't gotten a royalty statement. It's so long. And asked them to send me, the statements.
I know you got hit up by the DGA, I think, for that one.
Yeah,
they
the
were like,
DGA
we haven't
hit
received the payment.
And they and I was like, yeah, actually send me the statements. I haven't seen them. You guys haven't paid me in years. And then they sent me the statements to go, oh, actually, it turns out we owe you $13,000. I was like, okay. They're like, just send us an invoice and we'll send you the cash. And I was just like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. And yeah, and then as I went through the statement, and was assessing the numbers, I looked at, I mean, again, they send you these royalty statements in PDF. So if you get years of statements, print them, lay them out on a table and start to look for, consistencies and inconsistencies. And I ended up finding an inconsistency where the attribution that was due to be paid just shifted. My category shifted by like 30K.
Wasn't
in
there
1 quarter.
too?
Sorry?
Wasn't there a page missing?
Yeah. You're right. Literally, initially, there was a page. There was a couple page missing. I realized that there was a page, or there was a quarter missing. And so I was like, hey, I'm missing this quarter. But I could see that when it got to the next quarter that my attribution had shifted by 30K. And I was like, it happened in this period. And anyways, they sent it to me and I was like, hey, why did you guys shift my number by $30,000? And they were like, oh, I don't know. Here we updated it. We owe you, instead of 13,000, we owe you 43,000.
Oops.
It's like, whoa, that's a big difference, and it was from like 2019. And so, yeah, it's like, if I hadn't looked and done it, they would have just ripped me off for 30K. So
It's okay, because you would have had to pay, and then instead of paying, you got 40 G's.
Well, I'm just saying, first off, they owed me 13. Then when I discovered that they had cooked the book a little bit there, I mean, a lot, that it turned out, and they admitted, just like, oh, actually, yeah, we made a mistake. Yeah, we owe you extra money. But that just shows they literally just deleted a number and then just never sent me that royalty statement. And then, 6 years later, 7 years later, you just luckily I went back and looked at it. But I'm just saying, if they're doing that over that kind of money, and this was a movie that didn't generate a lot of money, so it's just crazy. But if there's movies that generate, tens of millions, they're shifting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So blockchain is the only way to solve this problem. I mean, straight up, there's no other way to solve it. And there will be a lot of resistance around it. So, back in 2017, 2018, which is when I really began paying attention to blockchain. I mean, I learned about Bitcoin in 2014, but I really started paying attention to the blockchain part of it. In 2017, 2018, specifically because I'd been so aggravated with how the entertainment business was functioning. I had made a big movie in 2013. Movie came out in 2016. Also made a big movie in 2012 and 2013 that came out in 2013, 2014. And all those movies, we got completely ripped off on the back end for having generated, two of those movies generated over $1 billion and never saw a penny on the back end. So I was just like, there's something wrong here, because we were supposed to get 10% of the back end, and They generated profit, but we never got paid. So you get a royalty statement that's 300 pages long on a PDF. It's like, there's no way that you can determine where the fraud is. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
But if it's all done through a blockchain and you have programmatic revenue share, it's impossible for them to cook the books, and for them to shift numbers and manufacture, expenses. So I think that we got to figure out how to get ourselves there. I actually think it's going to be hard with regards to movies released theatrically and through these studios that have huge infrastructure and there's a lot of ancillaries and revenues that come from third parties outside of the studio system and then filter into the studio system and go through those royalty departments. But what we're doing with Packet TV being in the fast streaming space, and all the money comes straight from advertiser revenue, it'll be very easy for us to capture all 100% of the revenue using this system, and to offer publishers and rights holders a real-time revenue share. So I'm intent to build that system. It's not going to launch on day one with the service, but it'll be a due course initiative that hopefully can be somewhat of a beacon for what's possible in the entertainment space. I think there's a lot of reticence after the FTX fiasco where people got harmed, and there's a lot of kind of negative sentiment around crypto in general, and crypto is generally shady, but blockchain is not. And if it's used correctly, I think it can provide an unbelievable amount of benefit. And I also think that with the growth of what Coinbase represents, as a publicly traded company, as a place that a lot of pedestrian users are comfortable with that app and getting more comfortable with holding crypto. If you can get paid in a stable coin, you don't have to worry about fluctuations of the market, and you can easily withdraw it to your bank account.
Can you withdraw on Coinbase outside of America into your bank account, or is it only in the United States?
It's a really good question. I mean, I've obviously never withdrawn. I have a sense that you can withdraw, because I see a lot of international wallet holders. So I'm willing to bet that you can connect your bank account in other countries. But someone let us know in the chat if they've ever if they have the withdrawal features into fiat. It'd be good to know. I had to learn the process where it's like you sell an asset, you get into, let's say, USDC, then you have to sell USDC into, in our case, USD, and then you can withdraw. And not only can you withdraw, but it is impressive. You can withdraw cash on Coinbase for like same day settlement. And Jared, have you done it on a Sunday? I've literally it's like same day. It'll put the cash in your bank on a Sunday.
Any day, anytime.
Yeah, that's so crazy. It's like the only thing that transacts in a bank account on a Sunday. I've been shocked that it does it, but because usually everyone's like, oh, we don't do banking on the weekend. Coinbase does banking on the weekend, and it's impressive, and it's instant. They'll take a huge fee off of it, but they'll process it for you. So yeah, it's really impressive. I think that'll build a lot of trust within the entertainment space, and in any space, frankly, because of just zero friction to your cash. If you're in a stable coin, getting to cash, it's very, very little of any friction. Obviously, I haven't withdrawn hundreds of thousands of dollars in one time. It's a small denomination, but presumably they'll cash you out if you need.
If you do it's like a couple $100 for every 5,000 or something like that.
Right. But I mean, think about if you were to cash out, if you got a $500,000 in royalties, and then you want to cash that out, you just wouldn't want to cash it out instant.
and you probably would want to just go put maybe some of that in Bitcoin and let it ride.
Yeah. Well,
it's I feel like you only need to put money in your account when you need to spend it. But if you don't need to spend it, why put money in your account to just sit there? If you can leave it in a coin that's a stable coin, or even a Bitcoin or Ethereum that is either is going to have more stability, or even a PKT,
Well, yeah, it's true. I look, I don't know. I'm just assuming that when you're talking about, let's say a film, right?
Yeah, when you're having millions,
they want to get their money back into their account, and then they may want to distribute that to other folks or reuse it for other investments and stuff. So, obviously people like to get their money back, but I think the prospect of getting real-time payments is very real. Very, very real. And yeah, I think that there's a big opportunity there, big opportunity in the industry to bring forth change in that regard. So
For
Real
sure.
excited about it though. So yeah, a little update, I guess you could say, on our end is we're on the 1 yard line taking down this huge brand. Literally probably going to happen this week, end of this week or very, very beginning of next. And yeah, just working with all the lawyers and getting things sorted. And then probably won't announce it for like a month and a half. So I would say like by what month is it? It's so I'd say by, but no later than Halloween. No later than Halloween. Yeah, that's what I would say. Next 2 months. I hate waiting that long, but you know,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't be surprised if this information leaks out in the next month and a half. But
Yeah. It's gonna be a
but
tough.
yeah, as far as like doing PR and marketing and stuff, yeah, it'd probably be end of Halloween, or around Halloween at the latest, and then this just gets shot out of the cannon in terms of us needing or us driving towards what we would call as like a platform launch, which will be summer 2026, realistically, end of spring, early summer.
Yeah.
Which will give us a certain amount of time to really get all this infrastructure set up and get the app live, and also create runway on the marketing, because there's a lot of organic users that we're anticipating to pile in, that will relate directly to the brand itself, and then we'll widely market it, in terms of getting this thing live. So this is total shift in at least what we've been doing. We've been on our end, we were very much focused on Rowdy, which was a hardware infrastructure project, specifically focused into helping businesses, and it was using the Packet network, and that was a big part of our focus. We struggled with that business in general. The hardware side of the business was very challenging, the shipping side, and then we just got absolutely kicked in the teeth with regards to tariffs, which damaged our ability to ship globally. We had domiciled our product in China and shipping it. I mean, this is just a disaster to do any international business right now. And so this was a very timely shift in kind of the directive and how we're going to operate into a digital product that can be accessible globally. Initially, it probably will have certain regions that it's not accessible, but certainly in the US and a lot of Western markets. And then it'll be a lot easier to incorporate Packet into it, because even when we were doing the, helping coffee shops and restaurants and hotels and stuff, none of them were interested in the crypto side at all of Packet. So we were using the infrastructure of the Packet network, but no one was really interested in the crypto side. So I think this will be a shift in how we can incorporate Packet and crypto into the story. And certainly it's night and day in terms of what's possible with regards to users. And users are, going to be the thing that drives the value of Packet and of the network, and ultimately of Packet TV. So the intent is to swap out the name Packet TV with this brand, and we'll look forward to sharing that with y'all. So you're just gonna have to stay tuned.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for everyone for sticking with us and riding this out. But if
you got any questions, hop over into the Telegram or onto the Discord. We're mostly there. And we'll catch you guys same place, same time next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. Take care. Later.